next to go off the island. It's just that they can
That's
all hear
funny.
weird noises coming from me, and they're wondering what's going on.
Yep.
Cool. Well, it's
Okay.
good to see
Actually,
you.
before
Oh,
we
yeah.
jump into it, I had invited Jose to come to take video and stuff because he
Oh,
was
cool.
gonna potentially work on a project with me in regards to my worlds.
Yeah.
Is that okay with you
Yeah,
if he
yeah, of
hops in
course.
with us?
Bring Jose
Okay.
here. It'll be good to see him. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and actually there's literally me as a viewer right now, but it is live streaming.
Oh,
I just
okay.
wanted to get some of the raw, fun, impromptu footage, and then
Yeah.
I am also recording this, so you'll have both angles.
Okay.
If you'd like.
I appreciate that. I was
Of course.
yeah.
Yeah,
Should have
yeah.
planned better and not packed my computer already, but I
Of
wasn't gonna get it out
course.
now that it's packed. So.
Yeah. And then I'm just for kicks because such a part of our connection. Uh, hey, Jose.
Hey,
Nice
Jose.
to see you.
Hello, Ruth. Hello, Nimzy. I'll go that way.
No, no,
Oh, you
no.
don't need to.
You're part of
No,
You
it's
can
us.
be
true.
with
I,
us.
It's all good.
Yeah, but you can be part of it if you want.
You don't have to
You
be
always have good questions, so this might
bandit
be
in
good to have you.
disguise. It might actually feel a little bit like people are gonna put in the chat like, who's that person? It's like lurking. I think they're gonna rob the place. Or they have COVID, or they think we have COVID, or it's just gonna, what is it? Burning Man. We can take all the stigmas off of a face covering. The Burning Man sandstorms. That could also be it.
Oh,
Mm. Yeah, that's the
I have not
nicest one I've come
experienced
up.
Burning Man. Probably
I've
won't
heard.
either.
That's why I've stayed away this entire time because I've heard that you inhale half a pound of sand and my
Ugh.
lungs would have tapped out at, you know, a grain basically. They're very, very sensitive. So
Yep.
no Burning Man for me. Okay, so last thing I was getting Discord up because I was like, we had the tradition of live streaming there so we can see if anybody wants
Hmm.
to watch and get to see a little
That'd be nice.
cameo of Jose with us. That's fun.
Sure.
Yeah. You gotta hop into the camera view for a second, but it's very
Yep.
slowly
Okay.
updating, so we're just live streaming too. Still just me. I don't think any of the bridge makers massive list of subscribers get up this early in the morning. Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
safe
Sorry
live
about that.
stream to not. No, 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 no. It's all good. This is part of the tradition, which is early in the morning.
It's true.
This is we do
You're
intentional
probably
in the
like, this is
morning.
the last time. Thank goodness.
No, no, this is great. I enjoy the I don't know, it feels like a morning show or
Yeah.
finding
Wake up
Nimzy
with
in the
Nimzy.
morning and having a good day for the rest of
Perfect.
the day, because it's like
Hopefully.
it starts with finding Nimzy. Wow, my Discord is like broken. Let me just quit that
Uh-oh.
here. I know. It's literally been doing updates for 5 minutes, so that was not working. Let me try one more time, and if not, we're gonna just move on.
Mm-hmm.
So in general, my thought was that we would, and tell me your thoughts also, because this is for you and about you, is that we would try to get to maybe 3 worlds and have more of that
Okay.
qualitative vibe versus like showcase everything vibe. And
Right.
um and then either included in that or um maybe in addition to that, the very last 10 minutes might be, if you wanted to, landing in the dot model world and just kind of
Mm-hmm.
recapping on that now that it has the updates. And um,
Okay.
that could be a nice way to kind of finish it out and acknowledge the bridge. Yay, Discord's working
Yep.
now. Okay, good.
Sounds good to me. And then, just so that you know from the beginning, my hard stop at 12 o'clock is now a soft stop.
Oh, okay. Oh, great.
Things
Yeah.
changed slightly with Alan's work, and so
I see.
We're probably not going to leave quite as early as we thought.
Okay.
So
Okay. Well, that's good. So we don't have that necessarily like hard pressure because we just might,
yes.
go into a whole trance and not even know what we're doing. Okay. You got your water and everything ready to go?
Oh, actually, I don't have water, and that's a good
Ah,
idea because I'll be
yeah.
dry while you're talking. So
Well, yes.
I apologize. I'm going to take my headset off because it'll be much
Of course.
faster.
Yeah.
I'm
Take
gonna
care of
just
you.
take it off and run it down. So I'll be right back. Thanks for the suggestion.
Of course. Yeah. I'm learning. Producer, I'm camera person. I'm host, and I'm also really happy to see Jose. Aw, and you're in VR. Yay. Well, and Bridge Makers are gonna.
Nimzy looks funny right now. Look at her.
Oh wow, yeah. This is like swimming Nimzy. But way to redirect off of you. What have you been up to? Give us a little sneak preview update on how the Jose walkabout goeth.
There's actually a bunch of stuff. Mostly happened with the first week. Maybe I'll talk about it later when I figure it out because I still haven't processed the experience.
Process what experience?
The experience of not being here.
Oh, that's real. It really is. Like, it's kind of like processing not being in a dream, but there's people attached to it. So it makes it a little more weird and uncomfortable and awkward to be like, wait, I just stopped having that dream every night. And there's like all these people in that dream still there. And like, what does that mean? Like, do I miss the dream? Do I feel weird that I'm not seeing the people anymore? It's just, yeah, I don't think our brains were like have ever evolved for this technology kind of thing. So I just wonder if like our nervous system is like, does not compute. I don't know what to do with that. And especially if there's all kinds of stuff happening in physical reality, it's just never going to be up on the list. It's like, okay, other flow happened. I have to follow that. So I feel you.
Yeah, it's interesting how you brought that up because I actually just woke up from a dream where I had a like a reunion with my high school or something, and then you
Whoa.
mentioned about people.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just the weird thing that you brought up,
Hmm.
or
What a
funny coincidence. I mean,
synchronicity. Yeah, no, I just made that up out of the blue. I haven't really quite thought about it like that, but I'm this is the thing that I miss and just miss in a way that like everyone brings that special thing, right? And having that distance, there's Nimsy. Having that distance with you has made me realize that like something about when you speak, and I feel like I have a third camera angle or something, and I can look over there and I'm like, oh my God, I never realized that this could be a part of a walkabout of sorts for anybody in any community. Is like their DNA, their biology doesn't know how to register. Like, these are real people I cared about, but also like it was a dream and it was a convenience thing, and that's a gaming technology thing. And I've got other pieces. So, yeah, just loving that kind of instant return to that ability to see something else and just feel a lot of like, thank you for showing me another thing. As always, I always learn something when I'm around
oh,
you.
cool.
Yeah. And hopefully, if I went to my high school reunion, if it's okay to say, because we are live streaming, so you already shared it, but uh, Jose had a dream about high school reunion last night, which was weird because I was giving that as a metaphor of sorts a little bit. But if I went to my high school reunion, it would not be a dream. It might be actually a nightmare more realistically. So hopefully that's not true for you. Do you miss the people in high school, or is it complicated, or was it just a horrible, stressful thing even if you did miss them? Tell me your dreams,
Uh,
and then we'll find Nimzy.
Well, in the dream, it was as if I was in a room and I didn't recognize anybody except for a few people. I don't know what that means.
Ooh, stressful.
Mhm.
That's awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been to a high school reunion, either of you?
Nope.
Mm,
And probably don't plan to.
Yeah. I got invited for my
I
10
have.
year, and
That's good.
I think I was like, ha! That was literally the, I mean, instant reaction. Just seemed like, wow, they're reaching. It really was a class of 14, and they're like, we need everybody, even the person we mostly ignored and couldn't stand. You should come back so we can do that again. Like, no.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah. Well, here we are, and you're back, and you have water, and we are
Mm-hmm.
here
I
to.
do.
We are gathered here today to find Nimzy. Woo! Yeah.
Yay!
Need to get my emojis out. Emoji feedback.
Oh,
Say, find
I always forget how
Nimzy.
to do that. Oh, here we go.
There we go. Oh, this one. This one's good. Yay. Okay,
Yay.
cool. And yeah, so in general, the plan here today. Wait, where does it go? Oh, Jose's over there. Um, the general plan here today is to just celebrate you and learn more about you and your worlds and what you're up to in the world. And then this is the live raw stream footage. One of the values of Bridge Makers is transparency. And so part of the process is showing the process and
Mm-hmm.
um, giving that kind of like, here's the raw, awkward pauses, glitchy version of us. And then when and as we keep iterating, that's another value, we're going to chop it down and get better at shining and showing what it became and what it is becoming.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is probably how I will just start out. I think you're pretty good with not deflecting comments. That's the old psychology background in me coming out. You're pretty good at like recognizing and saying, yeah, thanks, which I love about you. That is not super common in people. So,
Oh,
first one, but also, um, I think that you're also really good at explaining hard concepts, and that's just something that
mm-hmm.
um, I think is a impossible book knowledge craft necessarily to be like this is how
Mm-hmm.
you explain concepts that have existed for thousands of years and take many years for you to master or whatever, and I'm just going to like put you in a world for as long as you want and you're going to learn something about that thing. um so that's kind of where I want to like start, but also I want to just
Sure.
turn it over to you and say, hey, Nimzy, who are you? And tell us about you.
Sure. Yeah, I was thinking earlier about how I wanted to like introduce myself and explain who I am and how I got here. And I feel like one of the easiest things to do is to try to give a brief rundown of like, how did I get here? What is my background?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll go ahead and do that and kind of give my history of how
Yes.
I even got into world building to begin with. But it
Yay.
actually all started with right around COVID time, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't necessarily why I was getting into VR, but my husband had gotten a headset for gaming,
Mm-hmm.
and he finally convinced me to try it because I kept dragging my feet and was like, no, I don't need another game in my life. I'm doing other things. And then I tried it and fell in love with it. And so that was kind of the start of everything. And I came in excited when I found Altspace, which no longer exists
Mm.
by Altspace, but
Rest in peace.
was really excited that there were people like, running events, teaching things. And at the time, I was teaching about essential oils. and how they can be used as a natural form of healthcare, because they had completely changed my life and wanted to share that with others. And so I came in with the intention, the sole intention, of just teaching people about how to use essential oils in their life. And that morphed over and over and over again until we got to where we are now, where I came in and then I realized that there were a bunch of other people in the space that were teaching how to do, natural ways of helping yourself feel better and improving your life. I was like, well, essential oils is only like one aspect of it. There's so many other things. So, like, what if we all came together under one community and we're teaching all of these different ways of helping people feel better? And so that was the start of Vitality Reawakened, which is the VR community that I founded for that very purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And we stuck to it for a long time. I mean, the community's still around. We still get together. It's not as active as it used to be. But it was a really amazing place for people to just come in, find family, find friends, and in the meantime be curious and explore how they could help themselves feel better in a way that was all inspiring and entertaining. So that was, kind of how I got into like event production and things like that. But for my very first event, I was like, well, I need a world. And I'm very much like, I don't want to do what everybody else has done, so I'm going to build something custom. And Altspace had all of those like packs or whatever that you could go in and you could just like plop it down in the world and build from that, no Unity or anything. And so I built my first world doing that, and that was like the beginning and the end of many things for me.
Really?
That was the beginning of my love for world building, and the slow end, I guess. I was working my way towards moving away from teaching about essential oils and teaching about health and stuff in general, and more just being a part of creating the atmosphere and creating the experiences that accommodate other people teaching those things. So so yeah, that's over the course of a couple of years, I continued building worlds. Eventually felt like, using the Altspace kits wasn't enough, so I started learning Unity, continued producing events, continued helping other people produce events and teach about ways of being healthier in VR. And yeah, ended up getting to a point in January of 2024. We did a pretty major event called VitalCon, and I had a group of great volunteers, including Jose, was there with me. And we all worked really hard to pull it off, and it was great and wonderful, but it was a lot of stress, and I probably took on too much. Plus, there were a couple of like emotional meltdowns that would have been awesome to have the teaching that I have now for. But that kind of led to what I now recognize as being an autistic shutdown, and eventually to the revelation that I am autistic, even though I was not aware of that prior to last year. And so that has completely shifted, or like made me really look at what I want to do, what are my priorities, how do I want to spend my time, how can I take care of myself while still doing the things that I love, and also moving towards making money, because that's kind of the end goal here. Well, at least that's one of my end goals currently. And so, yeah, so I went from like, teaching about essential oils to leading a community and teaching other people how to host events and producing events, to now I'm shifting more into my creative side. It's the world building that I want to focus on. I began to realize that like when it came to producing events, that was the aspect I wanted to spend all my time on. Everything else was just an ends to getting people into the world to enjoy it, which tells me that that's where my focus should be, is the world building. Let's let somebody else do that other stuff that I don't really want to do. Oops, I knocked over my water, but it's okay. It has a lid.
Okay.
So
I'm the one that told you to get it. Yeah. I'm like, find your flow. And you're like, and it's flowing. Wow. What a story. So what I hear is that you've been on this journey that started with um, just the power of alternative healing practices. And that included
Mm-hmm.
essential oils that coincided with COVID. And I think for everybody, a readjustment to how to find community and how to be in relationship and share information and, survive such a bizarre period where being anywhere near each other, which for healing practices, you kind of have to be near each other. You couldn't do that without some serious scientific risk to each other. So how do you communicate and share such a important medium? And I say that with the bias that I've used essential oils for years, and um, it's it's kind of for my body system an inarguable medicine. Like if I did not have essential oils, I would be much crankier in the world, and also
Yep.
more I think just ill because the oils that I've learned to maintain with my body have been a kind of self-regulation process where, like, if I lost, first of all, I don't leave my oils in my check-in luggage because that would be such an anxious trip for me. But if for some reason I
Mm-hmm.
lost my oils, like that would be the number one priority when I arrive anywhere. Would be like, I have to go find these oils again. And that's my number one quest. And I'm not even checking into my
Mm-hmm.
Airbnb or whatever, because literally,
Yep.
for me, my oils will interrupt an anaphylactic reaction. And I don't even,
Mm-hmm.
personally, I don't even carry an EpiPen anymore because I've learned how to, like, the oils made me more sensitive to my body. And so I
Yep.
could listen and not feel fear because I had this whole piano of feedback to give it to kind of help it self regulate again and get what it needed. And so being able to interrupt those cycles of alarm much earlier calmed my entire
Mm-hmm.
nervous system down so that I didn't necessarily need those like life intervening medications anymore. So big
Yep.
believer, but also kind of like a quiet believer at this point because they've just integrated so deeply into my life that I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how anyone exists without them, but also like some people can get away with that, and maybe someday we'll still need them, but right now they don't. So that's just
Yep.
that personal story to be like, thank you for figuring that out, and also way to be
Well, it's amazing to
independent.
hear.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, and it's funny that we've never really talked about that, but I know that when you
I
shared that,
know. This is something I didn't know about you.
yeah,
So,
yeah, no, you
but
have
I
no
feel
idea.
very much the same about oils,
Yeah,
where like I that's just our life now. We don't have medications
yeah,
for the most part.
exactly. Yeah,
And because we have other ways of dealing with all of that stuff, and my
yeah,
emotional health is
right.
way better, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just
And
so
just
that's awesome.
it didn't, it's funny, we don't need to make an oil infomercial, but it really is lovely to connect with somebody this way. And I think it, in a way, is proving a point that, like, for me with my essential oil journey, it was way more than like a okay, I have an illness and put a balm or something. It was about
Mm-hmm.
really, for me, like almost spiritually connecting with the planet
Mm,
and asking myself, and this wasn't a guilt thing, it was just like a meditative thing of like, why did I need, because the oils are like the really concentrated, squeezed, like packed down product
mm-hmm.
of
Very potent.
sometimes thousands of pounds of,
Yeah.
organic material. And there was a part of me, and this isn't black or white, but I would just say, like, how can I be more sensitive to this information in nature if I need it? And like, why did I need to have it this loud to wake up to it and appreciate its medicine? And
Mm,
and what it did is it helped me go pursue the organic product and build relationship with it. And sometimes that went well and sometimes it didn't. And there are some essential oils that aren't of this country and whatever. So, but it was just like such a journey kind of quest for me to learn and appreciate the for lack of better word, songs of nature of sorts, of like really listening to
Mm-hmm.
the tunes that
Oh,
help
that's a really
me
beautiful way of putting it.
be back in my body and feel safe again and feel like
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't losing my mind. I wasn't losing my skin. I mean, my body has been, if my family ever watches this, they will attest to my body is the most insane signaling sensitive creature. I mean, it just like can go
Oh.
berserko very, very fast from being born. And so, yeah, really appreciating that
Mm.
something about VR becomes a conduit, because when I brought those oils, it was my personal journey, but then it was realizing how many people were suffering and
Mm.
didn't realize it because they just had lived with it. So just sitting, I would literally go for years. And if I knew somebody had an ailment or whatever, I would ask my body, is it okay if I wear this oil for me, but also for them? And so I would wear it.
Interesting.
And then weirdly, I would sometimes have to like reverse explain to them because we'd hug and they'd be like, oh my God, don't let go. And I'd be like,
So cool.
and they didn't know why. They just felt like, oh, I can't. You're medicine, right? You are medicine. And I'd be like, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, I'm not here. Actually, I brought you a gift. Um, so over time, I think I realized I became this almost pseudo, medicine woman, very under, because of my more
Mm-hmm.
conventional medicine path of sorts. It was very like under the table and not trying to get, anybody going like, oh, she's woo woo or she's, um,
Mm.
but, but yeah, I think that I learned over time too to never think of it like I could go connect with somebody in this third reality and just nerd out on essential oils. Literally before today, which is weird because we talked about this like 4 months ago. And I think I was just so excited to meet you. I didn't realize it. Literally, it never occurred to me until today. This is such a great place to meet and nerd out on essential oils because there's
Mm-hmm.
like a shared language we can have. And I literally can't give you any oils right now, which is always what happened with me. I carried bags of oils
Yep.
around for years and years.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's
So,
true. Like you can just
so
come in and talk
clever.
about it. And I used to host like regular, I don't know if I would call them classes. I would pick a topic and I would talk about the oils to use for it and how to use it and then open it up for people to just ask
Wow.
questions and talk about oils and things like that.
Did you
And
ever
then moved
live
away from it
stream
eventually,
this?
but it was cool. I didn't, because, learning to just be in the space itself at that time was overwhelming enough.
Yeah, of
Figuring
course.
out how to stream out of that
Oh,
space
God.
to
Yeah,
the physical world was not going to happen.
it's true. It's
But,
true. And
maybe in the
plus,
future we'll see.
exactly, like in alt space, there's a lot more rigid kind of thought characters. In here, with the
Hmm.
camera settings and whatever else, it might be more reasonable, but you were on a journey and you weren't here yet.
Yes.
So,
Hmm.
yeah, such a good
Very true.
point. And so, this journey that was like, it reminds me of almost like your 2, or maybe both of our 2.0 with essential oils were this aha moment, which is such a fun way to describe it because it's like you breathe in essential oils at minimum. So it's like, like, wow, I've been restored into a sense of joy, a sense of hope, a sense of like, oh, this is what sanity feels like in my system. And then,
Hmm.
and then world building was your second aha moment, ironically, off of the journey of the essential oils and realizing,
Yep.
oh, the thing that holds people's bodies is even more like of my growth. It's not the next thing, but it is part of this thing and beyond. So here you are in this development of not just changing the atmosphere of this space and the body safety of this space, but also just the space itself.
Hmm.
Yay.
Yeah. Yep. It has been quite the journey
Yeah.
from, there to here, and it's all intertwined, which is why I feel the need to go all the way back to the beginning and talk about all of those experiences
Love
that
it.
brought me to where I am, because it's all, it's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Every step has been, I'm moving on. Things are changing. I'm not doing some of those things that I used to, but,
Yeah.
they took me in the direction on this winding path that ended up
Yeah.
here. And so, yeah, it's
I
just
I'm having all
been a
kinds of
journey.
sparks of ideas, and I think I told you this the first time that we communicated and connected. I got to go watch that video over and over as I was editing it down, but I realized
Mm-hmm.
that um, there's a grief to growing a community. It is a continual sacrifice and kind of somewhere between conviction and delusional state to dream of this other reality society that's just going to appear over time. But it's also
Mm-hmm.
a grief to watch it rise and fall, kind of like a wave. That communities have their own rhythms, and they first have their springtime, but then they seed and they plant and they move on, and they have their own heartbeat, and we don't know when the next heartbeat's going to be. And so I have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of empathy for what that must feel like, especially with such a really loving offering that was not just, hey, I'm going to tell you about this cool thing, or I'm going to give you really important knowledge in a way you can digest it, um, but also I'm going to like make the space for you to do it in and build a community around that. And where are
Mm-hmm.
all of you? And why are you having big upset reactions? And so yeah, it's
Yeah.
really quite a journey. And in the middle of all of it, you have this avatar that is kind of your signature avatar now. That I'm curious about why the avatar? What makes this so encapsulating you?
Well, honestly, it was the easy avatar. Like when I first came into VR chat, I was not real thrilled with all of the different avatars, because I was used to seeing like um human looking avatars that were all very standard, like that you couldn't do a lot with them in alt space other than change clothing and colors. And so then coming into VR chat, it was a lot of overwhelm, because you could be a hot dog with legs and arms. You could be, this really beautiful wolf creature
Mm-hmm.
going around. You could be whatever you wanted, and that felt overwhelming to me. And so
Mm-hmm.
I just went with Ready Player Me,
Mm-hmm.
where I could create something that felt comfortable and familiar from where I came from. And
Mm-hmm.
so I chose this as something that I felt represented what I look like, though I have been growing out my hair, so I have to keep changing the hair length on it. But otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
this felt like a pretty good representation of, what I would look like on a regular basis. Super casual and comfy. I don't do like anything super fancy. And so
Mm-hmm.
that was just kind of what I went with. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
that'll ever change in the future. In fact, I'd kind of like it to change. I'm
Mm-hmm.
growing more into, like, it'd be fun to have a different kind of avatar. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
That might
for now, this is me. This is comfortable, and I'm okay with comfortable for now.
comfortable is amazing. And
Hmm.
it also reminds me of like, what is your 3.0? You've had the oils, you've had the world
Yeah.
building. Maybe it's avatar building, and then you're going to put it all together and be an entire society of finding
Hmm.
Nimzy. So yay. Well, why don't we world hop and find some Nimzy?
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
Actually, hold on. I've got a child home from school who's not feeling well, and she just
oh,
called for me. So I'm gonna like
okay.
mute for just a second
Yeah. Take care of
and
you.
then be right back.
We have for those watching, because we do have some people watching, we have a sneak peek of Jose as our breakaway commercial moment, who is also here filming and doing a cameo because it's like, oh, gee, Jose. Oh my gosh. Jose is waving.
Oh,
Hey, so good to
Okay,
see you.
I'm back.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yay.
I'm not going to think too hard about the worlds that we go to. I have a few in mind, so
Let's just do it.
um, yeah.
And
Well, actually,
for, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, we're here, so I want to show behind the waterfall real quick. We don't have to spend a lot of time in here, but I do want to show
Let's
what's
do it.
back there before we
Okay.
leave. Okay.
Yay. Waterfall.
So, and this is something that I like to add to a lot of my worlds. It just adds a little bit of whimsy to be able to like
Oh, yeah.
walk through a waterfall, and then you just have this whole space in here. And the
Yay.
colors, you'll see the colors in here and in all of my worlds. They're my favorite colors, and so that's a big trend you'll see. I also like to make spaces that feel almost temple-like,
Yeah.
but much more like not so rigid. It's not like a rigid religion thing. It's more of like a connecting to the earth spirituality type of temple.
Mm-hmm.
So I always have trees and natural elements within my spaces.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this particular world I made for one of my community members who was just, a guest to all of our events. He stepped up and was a volunteer when we did that big event, and then after that he was like, hey, I think I want to host some events. So he started hosting a meditation in here every other week. And so I built this space for him to be able to come in. All of the guests have places. There's all of these little rugs with pillows hidden in nooks and crannies all over the place, so they could go to somewhere, private and personal, or they could be here in the center. And so that's what this space was built for.
That's
was for that event,
amazing.
and it's just a nice place to be in.
What's so funny is I think I was so excited to meet you during meeting you that we didn't ever actually get back to this place during our last.
I don't think we came in here.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much about you, Nimzy, that I'm glad we didn't get into, because then it would have just pulled us so many pathways but yes, the trees, there's a design principle that I think you and I've talked about somewhat in here that has to do with not shaming people who are in an event experience but need to be different or just need a different option than the conforming to how everyone else is being. And the rewarding and the caring for their nervous systems when they need to choose to not be like everyone else, and how that sets up everybody to be safer and healthier together, because it's like there's a lot that we learn in our bodies very quickly about a space and about how to behave in that space that we're not conscious of. And offering surprises like running into the waterfall and finding a haven inside versus making a church where it was really clear that's where you're supposed to go. And so what you do for anybody who might be joining as friends of somebody in this world, but there's an event going on, is if they don't know to go through the waterfall to meditate, which now we all need to go through the waterfalls to meditate, but if they don't know that, then they can still enjoy the world, but also need to write their friend and say, hey, are you available to hang? What is this place? So you actually built a natural troll protection in, and trolling on a gradient of not like bad actors the way people say, but just disruptors who don't know how to be present in the space and need some adjusting time.
Part of that is some instinct, like I feel like I build worlds that I feel comfortable being in. And one of my biggest fears, and one of the reasons that I sometimes have a hard time going to events, is I'm going to pop up in the middle of the event, not have any idea what's going on, and somehow disrupt or end up on megaphone or be in the wrong place, be up on stage when there's a speaker, whatever it is, like that makes me super nervous. So like coming into a space and knowing like, oh, okay, I have to find like, or like I'm not like right in the middle of things. I can take a minute to just sit here and look around, figure
Mm,
out what I'm supposed to do, where I'm supposed to go,
mhm,
and then when I get to where I'm going, there's options. I can be here with everybody else. I can go sneak around and be back there where I can still hear, but I'm,
mm,
kind of on my own. Like I just naturally build those into my worlds because that's what I want when I go into
mm.
spaces. That's what I need in order for me to feel comfortable.
It's
Same with
also
like most of my worlds are kind of dark because I don't like
mm,
bright lights
mm,
and calming. Like all of yeah, this just feels calming to me. It's not like overstimulating my senses. So I knew I was autistic well before I knew I was autistic, apparently, because
right.
this has been in all of my worlds.
Yeah. Yeah. There's also something here about being creature inclusive, which has two meanings. One, we're in VR chat, where that actually is probably like a law of sorts, like you must be creature inclusive in here, but also metaphorically and physiologically, our DNA, like we all tend towards certain creature type um, personalities, energies, like constructs,
hmm
and there's this way that you're kind of creating that forest ecosystem for everybody to have
mm,
their place to nestle and not participate and still belong. So
yeah,
props
that's
to
very
you
true.
on that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Let's go to our next world. Thank you for showing
Okay,
us. I'm kind of
okay, I'm gonna take you
like I need
to
to
my
stop
favorite
talking
world.
more. Yes.
Um,
And before we do that, I just have to get this amazing shot of Jose in the waterfall because it's kind of
that's a
just
good
like
shot.
it's the liminal space. It's the mirage of the Jose. Hello. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna pop
Yes.
down a portal over here,
Pop the portal. Let's go.
and then we
So
can
we're
go into
going
the
to
esoteric
Esoteric
garden.
Garden, finding Nimzy.
Mm-hmm. Hello, Jose.
Aha. I recognize
Okay.
this object.
Yes, it
It is,
looks different in here than in your world, but
it's
yeah,
awesome.
there we saw like there's a sun temple asset that I've got like through one of the mega bundles at some point that I use all the time because they're beautiful and they're really well made. I don't have to worry about them being too heavy. And then
Yeah.
I just kind of change up the materials to fit the world. But
Yeah.
they have
Gorgeous.
that nice natural like temple vibe to them. So you'll see there was elements in that cave. There's elements here. There's elements in your world. I have a hard
Mm-hmm.
time not using them because I love them.
Amazing. And so
But yeah,
tell me about
this
this
is.
world.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, you go.
Yeah, so this world was a joint project to where I was working with someone. He wanted to come in and he wanted to run events in here that were based around meditation, but it wasn't so much like him leading the meditation. He wanted to give people that were part of meditation communities but weren't meditation leaders a chance to step up and be
Mm-hmm.
meditation leaders to just give it a spin. So I was working on building this world for him. So there's, some of his ideas and elements that came in that shaped this, but then there's a lot of my own ideas that came in and shaped it. Um, but I really wanted like just color in this space. And we wanted it, I just wanted it to feel very like artistic and creative and like, um, I guess his biggest request was esoteric, so I tried
Mm,
to lean into that. But yeah, so this is the space that we spawn into. We used this for dance parties actually, because
really?
we needed a world
Oh,
and it was ready around that time, so we used it for
wow.
dance parties. But
Huh.
this part here is just like a nice little place to go. My favorite skybox that's in like all of my worlds. I need to find some others to change it up, but come out, look at the stars, the universe,
Oh,
and just be in
wow.
the space. And then if you
Huh.
wanted somewhat of an idea, like we had other videos playing on here, you could be out here to watch instead of out there.
Oh, I see.
Um,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
So
So,
it's like a communal hangout lobby space of socializing, learning, partying in a like meaningful way, but still um,
yeah,
inspired by somebody who
the
wanted
whole world.
esoteric.
Yes, the whole world was meant for his events, and that kind of fell through. He's not really using it for that anymore. Um, but it's still one of my favorite places to come in because I feel like, despite the fact that I was working with him on it and he had a lot of ideas that shaped it, I felt like there was a lot of me in this space, and it turned out so beautifully, and it's such a small, simple world. We had a lot of fun in here. So here, I'll show you some of the surprises that I accidentally put in here that turned into like really good things.
I love that you're an accidental creator. That is also my identity.
It really
and
is.
it's shocking how those things happen. And then it's like, wait, it's like the best thing. It's like I did it on purpose, but I didn't. Wow.
Yep. I'll claim it as being on purpose, but really,
That's right.
just cool.
Well, you are on purpose, so then a lot that comes out of you will be on purpose, even in the accident. So
it's true. Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah. So a couple of the accidents in this space was, oh no, what just happened? Oh good, I'm still here. I just like my headset went black.
You flashed.
For a second,
Yeah. We're here.
Okay. So this huge like skeleton like head thing here. We were doing a party, like it was a launch party for VitalCon, which was coming up. And we did one in Engage, and then we were going to do one in VR Chat. And somebody worked really hard to make some like radio like a playlist where they'd play music, dance music, they'd stop. My guardian is being obnoxious, so I'm sorry if I keep flashing
That's
out.
okay.
I don't know.
No,
I'm,
it's actually not flickering out, but
okay, good.
Yeah.
I'll just try to ignore it when it happens for me then.
Okay. Well, okay. Or if you need to restart.
Anyway. Okay, if it gets too bad, I'll restart. But we'll see. Maybe it'll go back to not being an issue. But at any rate, she, in one of her, like, in between, let's bring it down, let's talk a little bit, she mentioned something about going to the dinosaur skeleton, which was in the other world. And I was like, wait, when we play that in here, everybody's going to be like, wait, what dinosaur skeleton? But then I pulled this in, and ended up loving it, so it stayed, even though that was purely just for, like, this was said, so now I'm gonna, fix it. So that was one happy accident.
Aww.
Another was all of these rocks. People love climbing on them. And so, like, it became a game to try to get all the way up onto the dome, which was really hard, if not impossible. Especially since I feel like the first time somebody managed it, I hadn't put a collider on the dome because I wasn't expecting anybody to get up
there. So they fell through.
Just fell through. So it was like,
yay!
I did it!
Now I break my avatar legs.
Yes, it was hilarious. So I have a collider on it now, but that kind of became a game. And then another thing that was kind of an accident was all of these little turtles over here, which are like so cute. I absolutely love them. And this was Jose's idea, actually.
Yay,
I used to have these assets in a dance party world where if you moved them around, they were like glitter bombs and like stuff just spewed. And so Jose was like, you should do that with the turtles. When you pick up the turtle, have it do stuff.
Do they have
little? And it didn't work out quite like that.
Turtle magic.
They now
farts of sorts.
Yeah, they fart stars.
Oh my gosh. I was scared to say it. I was like, oh, I don't think I'm supposed to say turtle fart anywhere ever. But they must. And
they're so cute.
Galactic Is this like a Van Gogh turtle?
I guess. I don't know. It's so pretty though.
Or
I
maybe it's
think I got it off
Monet.
of Sketchfab,
No, this would be
but
Van
it's like
Gogh. It's like starry
so well
starry
done.
night
Yeah.
kind of
Oh, even better
vibe.
if it farts
Yeah.
stars. That's even better. So yeah. So
What if okay, this is just such a weird one, but what if Van Gogh had a turtle that, was actually the genius behind the whole thing? And
that's
this is
probably how
this
it
is
went.
the lore that we're going to
That's
build here. This was the actual Van Gogh that
yep.
nobody realized was behind Van Gogh.
Now I want a pet turtle named Van Gogh.
I know. Oh my God. If you ever do that, you have to send me a video of Van
I
Gogh
will.
watching like this video or something. That's
Amazing.
lovely. Wow.
So yeah, so that
Yes.
was Jose's idea, and it morphed a little bit into these like nice stars. But now you can like dance with them. If you have two in your
Aw.
hands, you get all these little like things. So that was fun.
Yeah.
But then the
Bring
accident
magic.
was I was
Oh, that was
lazy
on
about the
purpose.
collider and just put a box. That was on purpose. The accident was I put box colliders on them.
Hmm?
So that didn't work. Why didn't
Turtle
that
pile.
work?
Oh no.
Yeah,
Because I
you can
dropped my
stack
turtle. They're
them.
mad. Oh, cool.
Oh
Look at
wait,
that.
they were doing it. I think it was like this. There we go. Oh no, I picked up the wrong one. So then
Interesting.
we started having turtle stacking competitions to see who could get all 6 of them.
Of course
And
you
then
did.
during that, yeah,
Turtle
I think
Jenga.
Jose was the best at it. I
Oh,
think he
nice,
was the only
Jose.
one that consistently got
I
them
bet.
all stacked.
He's got the energy.
And
He can do
then
that.
and then somebody decided that it'd be fun to sneak up and steal one of the 6 turtles that were being stacked. So
Yeah.
when they went to get it, the person stacking was like, wait, where is it? And then it turned into this like hide and seek game where somebody would go hide the turtle and everybody had to go find it. So like we had all of these super accidental games that were happening just based on things that were in the world that ended up being super fun.
Mm-hmm.
But
So, what's interesting about this is that I've had a bias in my mind since learning my creation in Horizon Worlds and Alt Space, that because the interactables and the iterative like cycling in there was so fluid and fast, that Unity building couldn't include that in a way that was like easy or fun. It would be like, oh, I should try that thing. And it wasn't whimsical or nimsical in your case. It was like arduous. And I really have to figure out this 3-hour thing to try this new thing that I might hate. And here I've had this whole experience as a world creator where it's literally I flip up into the sky and I pull it out of my asset library and give it collidables, and then we're trying it, we're testing it. And so I just thought, no, there's no way to have these happy accidents here. It takes so much more planning and purpose and disappointment and dead ends. So you're teaching me that that's not true, and also that you did something that I think a lot of world creators try to do, but many don't have the community system to really test their worlds and spend a lot of time in there and get familiar with the space and break it and show you the ways that their bodies want to use it. I think that's a fantasy for world creators, but many don't end up doing that, because when they do bring their friends, they want that like, hey, cool world, but also they don't want to annoy their friends, right? And so people don't get deeper into, no, break my world, hang out here until you're bored and tell me what world you want to go to next so I can build some version of that here and you'll stay longer maybe. Even though that may or may not be healthy, it still is information to understand, like, where do people long for after this space. So yeah, you're just reminding me that that is possible. And you started out in a world creation experience that was with your hands, and that was your aha moment. So I need to like update my files there a little bit and contemplate that maybe I've had an artificial barrier here a little bit. But yeah, thank you for this. The turtle stacking game feels almost like a literal thing that maybe happened in a society at some point. But in this case, no harm to any animal has happened. And the Van Goghs get to see new experiences. I love it.
Yep.
Wow. So,
Yep.
what a community
is
kind of
wild.
hangout space. I love it. And
Mm-hmm.
where shall we go to next?
Okay. Let's see. Next, we're gonna go to which one? Which one? So I think let's go to Color in the Gray.
Okay, but before we go there, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've been looking into this all this week. Is any of these worlds where I can find a little Nimzy?
The last one was.
Oh, darn.
I know, I missed my chance.
Ah,
Well, shoot. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to think if that's literally the only one that I've managed to get it into. So, nope. There's another one
it's another one. Yay.
that has it in, and we'll go there as
My
well.
gosh. Okay.
Okay, but Color in the Gray doesn't have it. I really need to take the time to go through and like put them in all of my worlds.
Really? Of course. Because there's something about like the Finding Nimzy challenge that I think should be like a regular event, of like,
Oh yeah.
go find the
Every month I
Nimzy.
change where all the
Yeah, and you
Nimzys are
time
in
it.
my world.
Yeah.
And
See how many
so
can
cool.
check
That
off
would
the
be amazing.
scavenger hunt of Finding Nimzy.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that'd be fun.
isn't that fun?
Yeah. Well, I am prioritizing like, getting my portfolio made, getting all my worlds, like, if there's any adjustments that I need to make from older worlds where I'm like, oh, I know how to do that better. I'm going to prioritize getting that done so that, I can market myself in the way that I want to be marketed and that shows my true skill set. And so that's going to be one of the things that I prioritize is getting those Nimzys in there and maybe
maybe it's like a Buzz Lightyear, but it's a Finding Nimzy. And so when you pull the string on the back, it'll say, I'm an awesome creator and you just found Nimzy. If you would like to hire Finding Nimzy, please go to blah, blah, blah. Or enter this code for a discounted assessment and evaluation where at minimum I can give you some estimates of what kind of world you might be looking for.
Cool.
Yeah.
A good idea.
Woo.
Okay, well, let's go to Color in the Gray. This one's going to be difficult because it's such a big world.
You know what we're going to do? At the end, you're just going to become really, really tiny. And I'm going to be like, I found Nimzy and she's real.
Let's do it.
I'm going to get you in my hand.
Me look for spots to hide it.
And
I will figure out where to hide it.
Exactly. Ooh, that's fun.
Okay.
Placing Nimzy.
Let's see.
It's got a ring to it too. Hiding Nimzy.
I think this is the right one.
Now it's sounding like I'm kidnapping you.
Okay, well, we're going to go here. I'm pretty sure this is the right one. I have a private version of it that's like an older version, and I didn't name them different enough. So now I think this is right.
Iteration.
Okay, so
key value.
Plus, drop portal, and we're going to portal over there by Jose.
Yay!
Okay, here we go.
Let's go Color in the Gray. Instead of color in the lines. Woohoo. Okay. So I love that we
are in fact in
the wrong instance.
Okay. So we are going to switch, but you can finish that thought before we switch if you want.
Oh, I love that we're coming to this world because this is how I found you accidentally also. And it was this kind of, the word envy. I think it was more like a jealousy, but it's the mild level that kind of feels fun and good because it's pretty rare in me. Where I just felt myself putting my hands almost in my teeth and being like, oh, who is this and when am I going to get to meet them? And knowing it wasn't them. So the mystery continued for over a year. All right, we're going to go again. Second time's
Herbie.
charm. Okay.
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 Much better.
Yay.
Okay. So I made updates to the world that made it easier to host groups in here because we were taking an EDVR group through, and they're very particular about how they do their events. So I was like, okay, we gotta get this figured out to make it easier. But yeah, so this is the lobby, and this was my very first VR chat world building experience.
Wow.
I joined a competition that was focused on building a world that highlighted and taught about one of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or SDG. I, of course, chose number 3, which was health and wellness, or good health and well-being. And then the whole purpose was build a world that teaches people about this SDG in a way that's fun and interactive and so on and so forth. I keep flickering in and out.
I see the flickering. Yeah. Oh, that must just feel so skin crawly because you're just like, that's not my motion when I say that.
Yes.
You're like 3. Do you want to restart?
Maybe.
Yeah.
As in like restart my headset?
Yeah, because it's a boundary issue. Actually, one little possibility is if you open your Quest and settings and just redo your boundary. Let's try that. I would say a 25% chance of working, but I don't really know that statistic. I'm making that up.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I cut you off as I went to do that, so hopefully you weren't saying anything.
That totally happens.
Super important.
Okay.
Okay, we'll see if that fixes it.
Okay.
Also, this world is not the most optimized world as far as I didn't know how to use light probes and whatnot at that point, so I don't know if that would cause issues, but at any rate,
you were having bounding issues before, so probably not.
That's true. It's not just this world. You're right. Yeah, that's good. But yes, so this world is probably one of the most different worlds in comparison to a lot of the other ones that I built, just because it's more of a sci-fi type feel. But as you can see, it still has many of the same color elements, and I incorporated that where I could, and still has a very emotional connection and spiritual connection as well, just in a different way. So this is a story world. Right now we're starting in the starting place, and then when you go through, it's very linear. So you go from one scene to the next. They're all stationary scenes, so it's kind of like walking into a photograph of what is happening in that moment, and then you'll hear some sort of audio, whether that's a conversation between two characters or our main character from the future talking about what happened in the past and narrating a little bit. You'll get some sort of audio that you listen to that tells the story as you go. So between getting this moment in time that you get to walk through and get a glimpse of, and hearing that audio, you get the story of someone who lives in a very gray, dreary world that just doesn't feel great. They're just kind of one foot in front of the other, one day after the next, same thing over and over again, and very just apathetic. And yeah, and that's what we were going for. We didn't want to focus on any one mental illness issue like depression or anxiety or anything like that. We just wanted it to be someone that everybody could connect to, and we have all been apathetic at some point,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's because of depression or anxiety or lack of being like pushed or why can't I think of the word? Challenged. Lack of being challenged, like all of us have been apathetic at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how the story starts is, we meet him in like this very tense, somewhat conflict filled moment of him being really frustrated and apathetic, and then move forward, and you kind of get a glimpse into what his life is like, and then he has this big like moment that happens where things change, and he is forced to see life in colors that he never experienced before. And then the rest of the story is him just exploring what that means for him, for himself, how he interacts with other people around him. And those colors are associated with like emotions and things like that. And so yeah, he just learns how to see. He's forced to see the color, but he learns how to kind of navigate that and even influence it in a positive way, and it kind of changes things for him. So that's the story, and you just kind of get to experience that with him as he goes through that process.
Hearing you tell the story, first of all, I'm wondering, do you have any magic tricks to get us there to him quickly, or how long do you think
Yep.
it takes for us to get there? So we can not
Nope.
just say it, but show people.
Yes, I have a way to get there. We have to be a little bit careful with this because it breaks sometimes, and we can get like you'll have to rejoin the world if that happens. But let's go this way. Okay. And then when you're coming through for the story, look for all these motes. That's how you start each scene, is by clicking on the little light mote.
Moat. I like it.
Okay.
It's like an
So,
emote. It's a light note.
I built in a way for people to not be able to find this, but if you jump, you specifically have to jump on top of that. So
Okay.
you have to jump on it, not just walk into it.
Okay.
And then once you've done that, this door will be opened instead of closed.
You are
For
so
just you,
similar
not
to
anybody
me
else.
in creating things. That's hilarious. Yeah, I did
Yep.
such a
And
weird
then
kind of little specific pieces to worlds that you had to do in a
yeah.
sequence.
Well, it was
Wow.
partly out of necessity because I didn't know how to like program stuff for like changing ownership and things like that without it breaking super easily, and that just seemed complicated. So it's like, as long as people don't jump on that box, they can't get in here. So I'm just gonna
Right.
make it super
Jump on the
easy.
box
But
and then
just in
look for the
case,
door. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Just in case somebody did accidentally figure it out, I also made a box in here you have to jump on before you get access to all the portals.
I'm a mouse, but I consent.
Probably unnecessary.
Look at
but...
that. That's so cool.
Okay,
Okay.
so there's annoying flickering, but otherwise, these are all the teleports that take us to the different scenes.
Yes.
So, and it's in order of how the scenes go. So I'm trying to decide what the best scene is to go to. Because like I know the part that is like the most beautiful part of the world, but it's also like the coolest moment in the story, and it's like, do I want to spoil that
The
for anybody that's
auras.
watching?
Yeah. Or are you talking about
So
this?
do you have any suggestions?
Yeah. I
Yeah, like on
mean,
the street. I was gonna.
my instinct is the conflict scene with all the people standing around, because that just is, it's unique, it's uncomfortable. I've tested this world to some degree because I've been really interested to see how people felt about learning emotional content and learning about emotions through content, I guess is a better way to put it. And so I don't see people love that spot. It makes them like, ugh. But also that tilling the soil gets them ready for the next parts. And without that discomfort, it's kind of like, oh, but how do I win this game? Because there's obviously a pathway and there's interactables. So where are my points? And when you kind of thrust people into like, no, you're just going to sit there and growl and you got to stay with that for a moment. I think it sets up the journey to be a more learning, meaningful reward instead of a just hacking your brain, endorphin
Yeah,
rush.
makes
So,
sense.
yeah. So let's go to
Okay, well then,
conflict because,
yep, let's
y-
go to Market 1 then, because that's
okay.
where they were kind of conflicting versus fixing.
All right. I love the little liminal
Okay.
tunnels. That's fun.
Yeah. Is Jose, are you coming in with us?
I
I
saw
think he already
Jose
went somewhere.
come in and then he disappeared. So he may know what we're doing.
Oh, he may have gone already. Okay,
Do
so
we
I'm going
just
to
grab
teleport
these?
us.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay. Ooh, the inside changed. Okay, now we can jump out.
Is Jose here? Did we
Okay.
lose him?
Oh, he left the instance. He may have needed to be done by a certain
Oh,
time or
okay.
something. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
that's my guess too.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so, oh, there he's back. Hopefully he can come find
Yay.
us.
Okay.
I don't know if he heard where we were going though, but that's okay.
He was
Okay,
here
so,
for that. Yeah.
okay, good. So yeah, we have 4 different conversations in here, and at this point we get a glimpse into the main character's
There's
life,
Jose.
and like, oh good,
Yeah.
you found us. So this is where he works, and these are people that he interacts with, and you can just kind of see. I don't know. Let's
Mm-hmm.
pick one. Let's pick
Mm-hmm.
um let's pick the boss one, I guess. I'm gonna stay on it.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Oh, do you have your
boss?
world volume up?
Is
Oh, yeah. Let me
this
turn
all
that
you
up.
brought in for your last haul? There's hardly anything worthwhile here. There wasn't a lot out there this time, boss. I had some trouble getting enough parts to get any of my bigger projects finished. I'm hoping I'll be able to scrounge up more parts over the next few weeks. Don't just hope for it. Make sure it happens. Or you can start looking for work somewhere where you'll actually be able to pull your own weight. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, so
And
yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you heard the ding dong, but
Did.
once you've listened to a conversation, you can either choose to listen to all of them
Hmm?
and then move on, or you're free to move on to the next scene.
Every
But yeah,
time I
were you
come
gonna say
through
something
here,
specifically?
yeah, there's been improvements. It becomes more gamified and
Mm.
interactable. So that's lovely.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that was interesting about that one that for a future update to maybe consider just for the people that I brought through here is I actually have taught off of the freeze scene. Um,
Oh.
and it would be nice to not have the dialogue at first. Like I could prompt the dialogue, but I think I
Oh.
brought people in earlier when and maybe I think what we did is I had everyone turn the world volume off. Um, but then
Okay.
we couldn't reprompt it. So that was, a sacrifice. But this was basically
Okay.
me asking people to like they know they're in a place of uncomfortable conflict, but if we're just looking at that freeze scene, how do we know conflict is happening here? What are the stories we're telling
Mm-hmm.
ourselves about both of these characters and what this interaction is? And then
Mm-hmm.
what would have been great is to be able to like push play and say, did anybody get this story? And what are you surprised about? And does this fit the body language? What would your body language be if you were in their position, etc.? So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this
Cool.
world is very possible for like workshop projective, nonverbal, emotional fluency awareness.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. And I will look into that because once you've done the story, I was like, I'm not sure if people are going to come back because like you've
Right.
already experienced the story, and that's a way of making it, return and use it as a teaching tool and things, and I would
Exactly.
love that. So I am all on board for kind of making those changes. And actually, it occurs to me that I'm being super rude and taking all of the credit for this entire world when in reality this was a
Shouting at
joint
your team.
project.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I worked with Tony Motion is his
Mm-hmm.
his screen name, I guess. And I did a large amount of the actual world building. He helped with some of the like technical things like the teleporters and things like that. And he was a huge help in breaking the world and testing it and making sure that everything functioned in a way that like worked well. In ways that I don't think I would have been able to. And he was also like a large part of the ideas behind the story. He did a lot of the like editing of the conversations, and he recorded all of the male parts himself, and then had a friend who did all the female parts and did that for us. So I cannot take full credit for this world. He was a huge part of making it the success that it is. So I just wanted to shout that out before I was in danger of forgetting.
I was one of your first testers. This was how I met you, was through Tony and through in the sneak preview on this world. So I think that was also the like, what? It's for the United Nations and it has to do with emotions and like it's a project in progress that the group is already formed. And I at one point I had this instinct to be like, are you having any conflict? You know, like, do you need it? You know, but then I was like, that's a little too on the cuff for like, we're literally going to be meeting. Tony and I were at a game jam a couple weeks later.
Okay.
And I was doing a thing on conflict resiliency there. So I was like, I don't want to, you know, flood. It's already on conflict. I don't have to be like, of course your team is having conflict. So, yeah.
So, fun fact, he swung through where I live, and I got to meet him in person on his way to that game jam.
Oh, wow.
And so I got to see him in person, and then like a day or so later, you got to see him in person.
So. That's so great. Yay. Well, you know what's even weirder about that? Oh my gosh. This is such a weird synchronicity. Tony and I met before we went to the game jam because we were considering carpooling together. And he did not, I mean, I feel bad saying this, but also kind of like, it's funny because if he had been like, and you can meet this world creator if we road trip together, that probably would have pushed it over the edge because I was going to have to fly somewhere else. And it was a more thing, it was more arduous process, but it was this question of like, can I meet a person I've never met before in VR and then be like, yeah, let's spend 16 hours in a car together.
That would be difficult.
You know, I love that we. There we go.
It'll have to be done in 5 minutes.
I love that we tried the concept. Yeah.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
And I also love that we realized that it was a big risk for an early meeting each other. It wasn't weird. It was just kind of like, we both were kind of like, I literally built a Horizon world that just had a car in it with a road, and we met in there, and I was like, let's just sit in here for a few minutes and see what it feels. If we cannot get ourselves into Horizon for 10 minutes and feel good about being 3 feet from each other, I don't know how we're going to do it. You know, like it's a lot, our nervous systems to just thrust each other into that. So, but yeah, if you'd said we could find Nimzy, I'd be like, well, you didn't tell me there was a tour involved in the road trip. So I would have met you. How fascinating. Wow. Well, the pathways we don't expect, but would have been so interesting. And yes, this world is brilliant. And I do agree that there's a really beautiful aha moment further down that we don't want to spoil, but it really was this, as you can imagine, I don't know how much you've paralleled it with the dot model and everything, but I was just like, you know, you put a new lens on and you can see emotional states and interact with people in a healthier way. What? Who is this person?
Yeah.
So, yeah, what a weird synchronicity of the whole thing. I was just shocked.
Yep.
And
that's part of why I was so eager to do the dot model is because, like, your appreciation of this world without my knowledge of it. Maybe that sounds kind of silly, but like coming back later and realizing that you were in here, appreciating this space for how I meant it to be appreciated was like, you're one of my people. Let's work on this project together.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I walked in, and I even told my team at that time that I was working with professionally, as I just said, I think I found the dot model creator. And they're like, what? Cool. When do we get to meet her? And I was like, I have no idea what her name is or if I'll ever actually meet her. And and they're like, it's a
so happy we're
complicated.
standing here now.
I know, right? I was like, it's a complicated journey to meet people in VR. You can't push these things, but oh my God, if I was a stalker, this would be that moment.
Oh, that's funny.
But my gut, my entire body told me not right now. Actually, when I looked you up and your team, it was like, nope, they are in their nesting and their project, and you've got your other stuff, Ruth. So like, just let it be, and don't think about it too much. Otherwise, you won't let it be. So
yeah,
here we are. Yeah, we found each other, and I wonder,
it worked out for the best.
Maybe a different episode of Finding Nimzy would be asking that question, you know, how would you have built this world differently now that you have been in such a deep dive, dark journey of creativity and plunging so fast into the dot model? Like, would that have shaped this? Or would there be a second layer to it eventually as a bridge to give people that workshop ability to see these conflicts and go, how do these emotions line up to these people?
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's just a curiosity.
That's a fun thing to think about. We should do that at some point, because it would be fun to go through this world. Just in general, like, because this was my first like VR chat project, I was just learning how to do the noodles, the udon graph stuff, and actually do interactive stuff versus just a static world that you walk into and explore. There's a lot about this that could be done differently, and so it would be kind of fun to go through and think about, like, okay, knowing what I know about the dot model and knowing what I know about world building, what would I have done differently in this world?
Yeah.
So,
but also even just like, there's the dream of like, I waved the magic wand and the AI bot just updates it all and it works. But then there's the like, we're not there yet. So what would be your version of I don't know, adding it so that you wanted to come in here and role play out conflict, not just for other people, but for you to be like, what are the interactables? What would be the prompts? Like, I've been building, I went a little crazy this weekend and built a list of 120 symptoms of conflict, archetypal stuckness. So like somebody who feels like they hold it all together or they're big fixers. Oh yeah, you're right. Time. I'm just so fun talking to you, but you got to go.
Oh, did you see me looking at my watch?
Yeah,
I was like, they can't see me. It's in the physical world,
no
but
watch
no, I'm holding a controller.
It's all good. It's all good. So
I'm not in any major hurries, so we're fine.
Okay. I was just going to say that like these symptoms of like what I feel stuck in doing, such as I'm the person that keeps it all together or fixes things. How do we work backwards from that and recognize the emotional patterns that are telling the stories that are keeping me stuck in that archetype? And so I built these massive spreadsheets of the 120 symptoms and then all the different layers of the emotions and whatever. And I'm like, whoa, this is feeling like it's ready for a really interesting card game or something where people are going to pull a card and figure out where it is in this process of deepen, orient, transform, and role play it out potentially, you know, with like, you know, you only get a few of the ingredients, but then you have to fill in the blanks of the rest of the story to build your conflict and find your way through it. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's a fun thing to think about, because I really want to get more into like game development. But anything that I develop, of course, will have that layer of encouraging curiosity and discovery and just helping people feel better in their lives. And so, you know, that sounds like a really cool, project.
Yeah, that I think that what we talked about in the first world we were in was starting this journey of how do we grow environments that help people feel safe and they belong, and then also like retrain people to not feel forced and therefore shut down in a space. And so your name, you know, so when I go to world creators on world lists and I'm like, oh, who do I want to connect to? Many times, forgive me, VR chat. Many times in VR chat, I'm like, oh, like, okay, good disclosure on what vampire, blood sucking, whatever is your name, that we might have some conflict. That sounds interesting. You're advertising that. But finding Nimzy is a real direct invitation of what to do in your worlds. Find your Nimzy and find that sense of curiosity to own that space and find where you belong. That being, let's pretend somehow an AI could figure out where you were best in that world, in any given world, and would just put you there immediately. That wouldn't necessarily make you belong there, because you didn't find it. And so you can't really claim it. And so finding gives an instruction. That's your first world instruction. Find Nimzy, whatever that means for you.
Yeah.
And
It's true.
yeah, my Nimzy just comes up in me, whimsy Nimzy, when I'm around you. So thank you for this. And I do hope that some version of the clips of this, or just the whole thing, because I think this is mesmerizing, will be something that brings people to try this and learn. It's like a bit of a wax museum feel, but in a way that is, it forces me as the journeyer to just witness the story like the awkward bystander and be like, oh my gosh, yes, this is the place where I'm like, I have somewhere else to be, but I'm here on purpose. So what am I not seeing? And is there a way that I can change these awkward moments and set the scene differently? Which you do answer very cleverly. Okay. So let's do our last world.
Okay. Number 3. I'm going to take you to one that shouldn't take too long to tour, and then we'll spend some time in the dot model classroom.
Okay.
After that, if that's okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let's drop portal. And we'll put it over here.
Okay. Psychedelic cavern. Nope.
Disappeared for me. Did it disappear for you?
Nope. It's there. Let me see if I can.
Okay, well,
this is a trick.
Go ahead in and then invite me there or something.
Hold on one sec. This is a trick I kind of learned to do, which is I'm cloning your portal and dropping my own.
Oh.
It's competitive. Can you see it?
It disappeared for me. What about for you, Jose? Is it there for you?
I see both.
Okay, well, go ahead and then somebody just invite me if it doesn't work.
We'll invite you to your own world. Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh. Wow. Invite Nimzy. Invite. Okay. I just sent the invite. This is so trippy because I actually have a world. I've never been to this world, but I have a world that looks a lot like this in Horizon. Starting to give me a little bit of the heebie-jeebies, which is weird for you to drop in on. But I was telling Jose, I actually have a world a lot like this in Horizon, just from the and you don't know that, but it was just it's so weird to land here and be like, oh yeah, this is that world that I built. Wait, what?
That's funny.
Yeah, very weird.
Yep.
Like literally even the things on the ground. I mean, that's weird. the mushrooms, the journey upwards, the do you have a giant dinosaur flying creature that you can fly in here? Because if you do, I'm going to scream and run out.
I don't.
Okay.
So your sanity is safe for now.
Okay. Yes. That would have been very disturbing. In
Yes.
an exciting but horrifying way. Mixed. Yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome to Muse Psychedelic Caverns. This is a relatively small world. I'll let you explore it. There is a Nimzy to find, so that can be your main goal, is finding the Nimzy.
Mm-hmm.
It's very simple. I made this for Joanne, who runs probably our most popular Vitality Reawakened event.
Mm-hmm.
Every week we come in here and we do sound baths, and then she has these like trippy psychedelic visuals that go along with the music. And it's just like a deep, like 20-30 minute meditation. And then we kind of check in afterwards and things like that. So this part down here is where everybody meets. There's blocks that people stand on, and then a screen that the video comes on, and then we all just like, go out in our meditation. And then up this way is more of like a learning corridor. That's the word I was looking for. We were hoping to put more like, push a button and audio comes up so that she can do some teaching type of deal, but we haven't gotten there yet. But there are some really cool visuals. So yeah, I don't know if you want to pop down into the dome and then take the walk all the way through the cavern and look for Nimzy while you go.
Oh my
wait, come back here.
Oh, wait, come back here.
So before every event, she has a smudge stick, and so she smudges and cleanses auras before we go in.
So cool.
It's been forever since I've been to this event, but I miss the smudging.
I do too. Well, it's funny is I was part of groups for a long time that had smudge, and there's a part of my body that is like, wait, but I can't smell it. Did I lose my, like, I'm so used to that much smokiness and being like, oh, sort of choking, but in a good way. So, yeah, that's awesome. Lovely, lovely ritual of body grounding before you enter. Look at that.
Yep.
Wow.
I have a circle up here that if I turn it on, let's see. There we go. So now that's on megaphone. So if you're in there, your voice travels further and is slightly louder. And then there's an indicator so that you know that that's the case.
Wow.
So that's when we share. We can all stand around the circle and don't have to like keep getting closer and closer to try to hear people. It just makes it easier to circle up and share.
Yeah.
Each week.
This is so interesting.
That's what that is.
It's yeah, there's so many layers to this. It's very Taurus, it's very liminal, it's very whimsical, the comical kind of not comical, cosmic, but also almost cartoonish stars.
Yeah, the stars are very cartoony. It's true.
But not in a two-dimensional way, in a like, I just watched the coolest Disney movie and then I was in a world with had all the sparkles. So yeah, lovely. And I was trying to get my camera to move upwards, but I realized I put a different setting on it. But yeah, this is so amazing. And this event is still happening?
Every single Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Wow.
People come in and we have a regular group, and then we have some that just drop in every now and then, but there's some pretty deep conversations and some spiritual work that goes on at this event, so it's a really good event.
Interesting. Wait, I found a Nimzy.
You found Joanne.
Oh,
she is the leader of the events.
Oh, I think I've met Joanne. That's interesting. I recognize that avatar.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yep.
Love
She's
the
been
trees.
part of my journey from almost the beginning, so she and I are good friends, and I get to meet her in person in like 2 days.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so excited.
That's such weird synchronicities. How cool. Wow. Is this Joanne also?
Yeah.
Joanne's got cool wings.
Yes. And then again, I can't take credit for the avatars and like the animations that go along with this. Jose Ferrer is the one that made these.
Mm.
I think he made them for her when they were in Alt Space, and he hasn't been doing as much world building since Alt Space went away. But he gave these to me to use in this space while I was building it.
That's so
And they
cool.
turned out beautifully. Yeah, you
This
can see
makes
her like, breathing out, and then the air in her chest gets smaller, and then she breathes in and it gets bigger, and it's just to teach the art of slow breathing while meditating.
Oh, I love that. I see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this makes me think of why I've been through so many meditations and none of them have actually been like, please consume this mint and then be conscious of your breath and feel it all the way
Oh,
in. Like that's a way to kind of gently waken people to where they're pulling their breath into.
that's a
And
good idea.
can
Mm-hmm.
also keep their breath slow because if you breathe really fast with the mint, it's too cold many times. So
Mm-hmm.
it could actually like help with that. But yeah, when I came up here, I was like, wow, she
Mm.
must have such minty breath. Where do you get your
Amazing.
Tic Tacs? Different kind of smudging over
That's
there.
hilarious.
Love it. Okay. So beautiful and so trippy that we have such a similar pathway journey with mushroom and trees. And I mean,
Yep.
I'm afraid to show you that world now because I think like, oh, if you saw that, you'd be like, yeah, but it's all very low poly shapes, but it has charm to it. It was this design. It just was,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't have these
Yep.
cool animated wows. What is
Mm-hmm.
happening there? It's got a minty mind.
Yeah, so this is about light and becoming light during meditation. And the music that Joanne uses is all custom, like made music
Wow.
by her late husband.
Hmm.
And I can't explain it nearly as well as she does, so you know, take this with knowing that. But
Yeah.
the music is designed to connect with us on a DNA level. Like
Right.
he was funneling, messages from, yeah, and this is
Mm.
where I lose the terminology, but
Right. Yeah.
so you'll see like the DNA in there, and then I guess I don't know for
Wow.
sure what this animation is showing, but it's really cool, and it's just a part of the teaching of pulling in light and becoming light.
Wow. It feels like light almost feels like a substitute for consciousness and that
Mm.
like or not substitute, but a synonym of consciousness. And so then
Mm-hmm.
it's like how do we make our entire being on purpose and activate our entire being and realize that that coding goes all the way down to that molecular level and can we
Mm.
visualize linking that coding together so it activates everybody else to be on purpose and
And
come into that resonance with each other and our planet.
mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
lovely. Such a cool story. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, okay, so not that we're on a shopping tour, but this level of animation in your color in the gray world
Mm.
would be like wah wah wah.
Yeah.
Really good.
Well, one of my projects that I'm working on once I'm done with all of my volunteer projects, which is coming up very soon, will be working on a game concept that will include making animations.
Ah,
And so I will be learning more about doing animations, which is not
yay.
something that I have basic knowledge
Mm-hmm.
on doing animations, but
Yeah.
as far as like realistic move your body type of animations, no.
Yeah.
So that's a skill that I will hopefully be developing over the next
Wow.
few months or so.
Okay. I love it. And I love that
Mm-hmm.
you once again have made a space for people to feel safe not joining the group and
Mm-hmm.
hanging out with
Yep.
JFW here, who is really getting their power together. I mean, this feels like
Yep.
echolocation or, one of those superheroes that flies with their vibration or something. It's very
Mm-hmm.
powerful. Lovely. Okay,
Okay,
let's
one more.
close off in the dot
Go
model
back here
world.
yet.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hold on.
Oh, wait,
There's
wait,
still-
we didn't find Nimzy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you haven't found Nimzy
I
yet.
haven't found Nimzy.
So
Oh.
finish the tour. So this is becoming sound, and that's Joanne
Wow.
again.
Oh. That's
This is
lovely.
probably my favorite of the three. It's just so pretty.
Mhm. And I do have sound up, but I don't hear anything.
There is no sound here, which
Okay.
in retrospect that's kind of silly because it's becoming sound. But
Like the world's broken. Knock, knock, knock. Or my ears. Yeah. But it's
no,
also
there's just
kind
nothing
of
there at the moment.
it could be to shortcut it, or it could be kind of cool to be like, please put your favorite music on while you stand here
That's true.
and
Yeah.
feel that music consume you the way this image is held by the music. So
Yeah.
I've never danced like that with
Well,
music, so I really want to know what she's listening to, but
I know, right?
it's still really cool.
And it's even more beautiful because we actually used this animation in another world that I built for the VitalCon convention. I built a world specifically to host that in, and her husband had passed recently, or like
wow.
like half a year or so before that happened,
Mm.
less I think even. And
Wow.
so we put a memorial in there and had some of his music and then her avatar just dancing with it, and it was just so beautiful having them connect in
Oh
that
my
way.
God.
So.
Wow. That sounds so meaningful and soulful.
Mhm.
And I feel like I'm catching up on her life very quickly, but I'm feeling some pain. I'm like, what? I just met him. This is so like I felt like that was her husband who had the wings and was sound and whatever. And so there's this kind of painful moment of going, I'm so sad she went through so much loss. And that was before this world and this embodiment. So wow. Way to keep dancing. Huh.
So, yep. We are gonna spend some time this week. I have extra time with her. Like I'm staying at her place, and we've got some days together, and so we're gonna talk about, like how do we want to incorporate teaching tools either here or into a different world, or things like that. So there might be some fun things that come up world building wise with her in the future.
Yes.
But, okay, and then almost to the end.
Almost there.
Keep trucking, and of course I have a nice little,
arrival space.
Skybox.
Yay!
Oh, I don't have actual seats here, but we can pretend we can sit down.
We can. Look at us. We're in front of the cosmic cave wall. And also, before I forget, I think because you're usually not in headset, I don't have any good pictures of us animatedly looking like we're not meeting for the first time.
I'm just like this the whole time.
I was like, really? She likes me,
Look, I even do hugs.
I know, exactly. No, seriously, it was that sense of we need to work on our photograph skills because we just don't either really care about that. But eventually, that does matter. Okay. And if you're really this tall proportionally to me in physical reality, I will just love putting that picture someday next to this one. It's pretty awesome. I think it stay that
I was gonna
height.
say I feel really tall.
I feel like
at the
your
moment.
little sister. Okay.
I feel so protective.
I know, exactly. Like shelter me. Okay. Well, that is the camera. So we're going to get our photo just in case the dot model world just spins us into we got to go right now. Okay. Yay. Oh, so cute. Good. We finally got a cool photo. And I look like I'm the bottom of that tree. That's funny. And such a cool spot. I love that you end a journey away from the polarity of let's join together and be in this altered state as humans. Like even just being with each other is altering, and in VR to go and be contemplative and see the universe. And this was made for you to feel safe and just think about everything. So,
Yep.
lovely.
Okay. And then
Yay.
do you glimpse
Oh,
anything
no,
in the
let
area?
me. Yeah, good. Oh, thank you. The hints. Did you ever play that game, I Spy with My Little Eye? Let's see.
Yep.
Where's the little Nimzy? I see a Jose. Oh, that's another. That could be like the bonus round. Find the Jose. Find the sloth in the tree.
That
It
would
must be
your, like,
really tiny. Is that it? There's something. Yes! Can I grab her? She's
Yep.
hiding. Really?
You should be able to grab her.
Oh, arrow.
Maybe I need to extend the range that you.
That's so cool. And she's animated too. Oh, it's because I'm on
Oh,
fly.
there you got her.
There we go. Hello. Oh my gosh. And she's animated. That's so amazing. Wow. You're like dancing. Wait, am I flying now? No. Did you give me flying ability?
No, you're just up on the wall.
Oh, okay. That
would be so cool.
Oh my gosh,
Find the
yes.
Nimzy and then you can fly.
Yeah, exactly. You find your wings when you find the Nimzy. I mean, that's like, yes, please. And actually, I have another world where you do get your wings and stuff. But
cool.
this is next level. I mean, where do I order this on Amazon? It's like jiving out. That's amazing. Oh, and I love that it's at the end of the journey. And it's also kind of like, it feels like the marker of the game that would start when you grab the Nimzy. And now you see fairies flying around or whatever.
So cool.
She's obviously telling a story. You know, she's like, what's around the corner? It was great. And did she change her pose when I grabbed her?
Yep, if you pick her up, then she does like a happy, just I'm standing here type of animation. And then when you put her back down, she's like, oh, I'm hiding again, even if she's in the middle of nowhere.
Really? So how do we get her back down? Do I have to crouch? She doesn't fall, so that's good. And she doesn't throw or be thrown, and that's also good.
Right.
You know.
Oh, you're like sitting with Nimzy. It's so cute.
It's okay. It's okay. It's a Nimzy doll. That's pretty charming. Wait, but you gotta hide again. Are you gonna hide? No. She's like, I'm trancing out. Don't bother me.
Oh, okay. Maybe eventually she'll decide to hide again.
She will. She's like, no, I've been found. It's all good. That's so brilliant. Well done, you. Okay.
Thank you.
The grand finale. Oh, this is lovely. I've had so much fun.
Okay, hopefully I can get into my own world this time.
Okay.
Plus drop portal and
Yay.
Yay.
Okay. So we all know, everybody on this planet who's ever met me knows that I could say so much about this world for hours and hours, and we don't have that time, even though you are flexible. So what do you want to say about this world? What is your reflection?
Well, I don't know. I feel like I'm still kind of processing everything about this world. I'm pleased with how it turned out. I'm pleased with, the teaching mechanics that are up there and that you can use that. And I'm really excited for this space to be used for continuing to teach about, emotional intelligence and conflict resiliency and everything. Like, that's why I was so excited to do this project, is because I knew that it was going to touch lives in a way that is necessary and amazing for the entire Earth and all humans on it. So I'm really excited to just, now that it's at this point, I know that this is, 1.0. There's probably other versions, maybe other world builders will step in and add their brilliance to it. Who knows how it's going to morph. But for now, it's at a spot where it can be used, and I'm excited to see how it's used, how it's broken, how it's surprisingly not broken, and this turned out to be a happy accident type of thing. So just learning all of those things.
Oh, that's so good. And is there any part of the world that is like your favorite part, or kind of was another happy accident?
I feel like, out here is probably one of my favorite areas.
I'm
noticing there's still a flicker for Quest here, so I thought that was gone. So it's kind of disappointing that it's not. In fact, it almost seems worse right now.
Oh no.
That could just be my headset though, I guess. But yeah, like, being in this space, like, this is my typical, like, has somewhat of like a spiritual, almost temple-like feel without actually being there, and then incorporating nature, like all the trees back there in the classroom without, and the tree out here, incorporating that in, all the wood textures. This just feels like a comfortable space to me, and I love, just being here looking at the world and seeing how beautiful it is here. So this is probably, these areas right here are probably my favorite.
Yay. Lovely. I don't know why it's coming up right now from what you just said, but there's this part of me that's like, I have to tell you this thing before you go, because we might not see each other for a month or more after this. And I don't really know why, but I just got a meeting yesterday where I was invited to be a keynote at a conference that is fully remote, but it's a yearly conference on moderation. And they've decided to do this conference on conflict resiliency and kind of shape it around this theme. And so it's online, like Zoom or whatever software they use, but I hadn't really plugged in that awareness of that whole conversation with this world at that point. And I think that there might be something to kind of help that come alive for people, because it'll probably be a two-dimensional workshop and whatever to show the dot model, but maybe at some point being able to like help them see that this is more of an interactive organism. That was my big aha moment in this space, was I had been hungry for this for over 10 years, to be able to see it and feel it kind of pulsing and heart beating and rhythming, so that people didn't assume, oh, well, anger is always on that side, and these motions don't interact with each other. It's this one or that one or whatever. And being able to see those layers, it's like it came more alive in me even. So right now I feel like the world got built and now it's kind of resting for a moment, and then it'll start to kind of grow its own following and community. But yeah, there was just something so seeing your other worlds today, just realizing I can feel your evolution, and I can feel how you are moving more and more into that professional learning space, where I guess our last thing to maybe talk about here for the purpose of this video is like, who's your ideal contract with? Who's your magic wand where you're like, yeah, I'm gonna do this World Series, or this is do you only want like short-term projects that are one event based? Do you want to be hired by an app developer that's like, in 10 years you're going to grow an app off of this thing, but in the meantime build worlds and build a community based off of it? Or like, what is your like, this is what I would like to do, and this is what my skill set is going to lead me to?
I think my ideal client is someone who would want me to build worlds for them that I'm not opposed to long term, but I would want it to be like, geez, I don't know how to say this. Like, I get bored easily, I guess, and so
Yeah.
I need a new project. And
Yeah.
so that type of thing, where there's a new type of world, a
Yeah.
new idea that we are developing, that would
Yeah.
be my ideal. Just building beautiful worlds that people can go into explore. That's the part I love the most, more so than like the programming and the technical side of things. In fact, I feel like there's a lot in this world that needs to be fixed technically. But yeah, that's my ideal client, is just someone who has beautiful worlds that need to be built, and they like a type of aesthetic, because I've tried really hard to move away from it at different times just to challenge myself, and I always come back to it. So, that's kind of a must. Like
it's the Nimzy lands. You don't argue with that. It's all built from the same wood and the same stone, and it's like this is just that era of the multiverse. So yeah, that's real. And so maybe I'm picturing maybe even an online conference that wants to get involved also in virtual reality and have that other reality for people to meet, even just on their desktops, and find each other there and learn how to interact, not just as a voice or a talking head that you would see on Zoom, but as a full-bodied being.
Yeah. And like, while I'm no longer super interested in producing events myself, I have a lot of experience with producing VR events. And so that extra element of like, if somebody is looking not just for a beautiful world, but one that works really well for hosting events in, I have the experience to be able to do that.
And that is such
so again, I want no part in actually like making the events happen. You do that, but I will build you a world that makes it easy
that works for the event. Yeah. And that is a really rare skill of like being able to make a functional social VR event space that can be sensitive to different levels of usability, and make it, in a physical conference, it would be like slippage proof and, child safe and whatever, but you're making it physiologically safe and welcoming, and you're thinking about it very intuitively as, if we want people to stay here for 2 hours and be comfortable, how do I make it a space that can have them comfortable for 3 hours? And so if I can stretch that for even the least experienced user, then I've gotten the bubble around everyone. And how do I build for that? So yeah, lovely. Okay. Is there anything else? I feel like we've had a Jose with us the whole time. I want to include him at the end here and maybe get one more photo. Where'd you go, Jose?
Okay.
Oh, find the Jose. I found you. Yay. Let's close up with a photo with the three of us. It's such a fun, there's so many mysteries being revealed today, including that like I had no idea, Jose, that you knew Nimzy, or so when I saw you, I was like, oh, Jose came into one of our events ever of you building a dot model, and now that's so cool. Way to go, Jose, and building community. I didn't know you were familiar with each other, so it's such a cool bridge.
Yeah, he was a crucial part in doing VitalCon, so he and I have worked very closely together. So I'm happy to have him in Bridgemakers too. Wow. He's kind of one of my safe people in a new space. So.
Oh, yay.
Thanks, Jose, for being here.
You find your Jose, and he finds us. And Jose, did you find, I don't even remember how you found Bridgemakers, but was it through Nimzy or was it some other route?
Yeah, it was through Nimzy and EDPR.
Okay.
Laurel kept talking about Bridgemakers, and I had a conversation, a group call with Nimzy, and then she brought it up, and then right then and there, that's when I joined the Discord.
I see. Gotcha. Yeah. Oh, I wish Laurel was here too. But what a cool way to have a bridging community to shout out as our good guy here. Yay. Well, it's been so fun finding you both and being found by you both. And I hope there are more adventures ahead, but it's also the metaverse. The nature of the metaverse is you can't attach yourself that way. It feels heavy and burdensome and drag-esque, like it just tugs on you in a weight. So while I do hope that, I also release it like turtle farts, which I've now said again today, into the metaverse to become stars and rebirth as something whimsical and genuine. Whatever it is for you and me and us, or for you and someone else, and more spaces and projects ahead. Yay. Okay, well, let's get a photo. And maybe we'll emoji our way out so we can have our...
I always forget how to do that.
Let's see. I'm going to pick something here. Yay, presents! Which, has a different double meaning. You're finding Nimzy brings presents.
Amazing.
VR. Yay. Oh, so good. Exactly. Yes. All right. Well, let's scooch in like we don't have metaverse cooties, and then we'll say goodbye. Yay.
Bye.
Right. Bye.
I didn't get to see who was on, but for anybody that was watching, thanks.
We've had Nazarene here for almost the entire time, so thank you, Naz, for coming. And Geek dropped in and out and offered some comments. And yeah, we also have a really cool YouTube stream that you can all watch your cameos now. I'll leave it live unless you say otherwise. But it was good to see you. I wish you safe journeys, healthy, fun, beautiful road trips. And yeah, it's good to see you, Jose. I wish you also safe journeys.
For doing this and setting it all up and recording and everything.
Of course. This is an amazing Wednesday breakfast.
To talk about my worlds.
Oh, you're epic. I hope this falls on the right eyes and ears. So you definitely... I'm like, hire her, but also just give me money to hire her so that we can be working, or just give her money to work with me. I don't know. I don't care, but like, let's keep working together. So, yeah, I'm going to go to business school now and figure out how to make money.
Sounds good.
Literally. You think that's a joke, but yeah. Okay.
Actually happening.
Bye, everybody. It's good to see you again, Jose.
Bye.
Bye.